With the New York Rangers having missed the playoffs this season, already having given up their first round pick in a trade before the deadline, giving up that first alongside Philip Hedl and prospect Victor Mancini, of course, in that package that saw the Rangers get JT Miller and a decent prospect in Jackson Dorrington, as well as a depth player in Eric Brandstrom in return. So with not having that first round pick now and it being top 13 protected, this upcoming NHL draft lottery is going to be very interesting for the New York Rangers. So we're going to take a look at what this pick could possibly end up being for the New York Rangers, kind of talk more about whether or not they should keep it, whether they should give it away to Pittsburgh, and kind of talk about what the kind of ramifications could be for next season there if you're obviously keeping it this year and having to give up that unprotected pick next year. So we're going to talk a lot about this upcoming draft lottery and this kind of first round pick for the New York Rangers, as well as we'll take a look at some prospects and really kind of see which players could be around the range where the Rangers could possibly be picking if they don't end up, giving up that first round pick in this year's draft and decide to keep it for this year instead of obviously giving up next year's pick. So let's get right into it here. And now let's take a look at each of the picks that the New York Rangers do have in this upcoming draft. Of course, they have that first round pick that is top 13 protected. And if it does fall within that top 13, the Rangers do have the choice to just give it away to the Penguins in this year's draft, so they don't have to give up their next year's 2026 unprotected first round pick, which obviously is in a draft where there is an absolutely incredible talent by the name of Gavin McKenna, who is looking like a truly kind of top tier elite prospect, like a true prospect that is rivaling guys like Crosby and McDavid, like not like Bedard level. He's above that level there. So there's that kind of special prospect in next year's draft. So maybe the Rangers don't want to give that even a slight opportunity of possibly giving that away to the Penguins there, obviously. So that could obviously play a bit of a factor here, and we'll see what the Rangers' ultimate decision is. But carrying on here, though, and taking a look at the rest of the picks, the Rangers also have their own second-round pick. They have the Seattle Kraken third-rounder. They have the Avalanche fourth-rounder, as well as a conditional Anaheim pick, which will be the lower of their two fours. The Rangers also have a fifth-round pick from Minnesota, their sixth-round pick, as well as a sixth-round pick from the Seattle Kraken, as well as their own seventh-round pick to conclude all their draft picks in this upcoming draft. Now let's take a look here at some of the fun stuff and see exactly what the odds are for each possible pick that the New York Rangers could make with that first-round selection, because obviously they could end up possibly, winning the draft lottery there, although it's not likely. It is possible, so we'll take a look at those odds there to see what it is to jump up into that top three. And also, we're going to take a look at what the odds are to kind of see, the Rangers either stay with that, number 11 overall selection, which they did finish 11th last, of course, as well as we'll take a look at the odds of them possibly dropping back even further to that 12th or 13th pick. And with them finishing 11th worst in the entire NHL, and with the new kind of, draft rules that kind of came in a few years ago, the Rangers can only fall back as far as possible to the 13th overall pick. So that means the Rangers are guaranteed to have the option of either keeping it or giving it away, as this pick is top 13 protected there. So the Rangers have that full choice there. If they want to keep it, they can keep it. If they want to give it away, they can give it away there. They have that full choice no matter what happens here with this kind of lottery results, no matter what, they have the option. But taking a look at the actual odds here, we have first off, for them to fall with pick number 1 and win the draft entirely, they have a 3% chance. For pick number 2, they have a 3.2, and for pick number 3, they have a 0.1%. So the Rangers have a total of 6.3% chance of falling in that top 3. So obviously not very good odds there at all to jump up into that top 3, but the Rangers have had some pretty good luck there in the fairly recent past, obviously getting that first overall pick to get Lafreniere and that second overall pick to get Kakko. So maybe more of that luck kind of spread to here, but taking a look now at the other kind of possibilities here. So if the Rangers don't fall in that number 1, 2, or 3 pick, which it's more than likely not going to happen, they have the option of finishing with pick number 11, which they have the best odds with a 79.9% chance. So more than likely going to finish with that 11th overall pick. Then for the 12th pick there to jump back one spot, they have a 13.4% chance, and to jump back to pick number 13, the furthest they can drop back there. So from 11 to 13 is the furthest they can go, and that is a 0.5% chance. So more than likely, this team is going to end up with pick number 11. That seems like it's what's probably going to happen there. A very small chance there, about 6.3% chance of the Rangers getting a top 3 pick, 13.4 to jump back one spot there to pick 12, and 8.5 to jump back 2 spots to pick 13. And now let's have some fun here, and let's say the Rangers end up keeping that first round pick in this year's draft and end up having, pick number 11, let's say. we're going to now look at some prospects that could be available around that draft selection. And this draft is not the greatest overall by many scouts kind of account there and by many kind of reports. It's not the best overall draft, and next year's class is a lot better though. So that's kind of where maybe if the Rangers do even end up with that pick number 11, maybe they do say, hey, let's give up the pick in this year's draft because we would rather not risk it in next year's draft, or maybe rather have that first round pick to use in a potential trade because maybe a different team would kind of value that pick in next year's draft more than this year's draft, right? There are a lot of different scenarios where it would make sense to obviously even give up this pick in this year's draft, even if it is at number 11. So there are different options here. Obviously, we could see this team keep it or give it away. We'll have to wait and see. But assuming they do keep it here and they get number pick 11 or something around there, let's take a look at some prospects that definitely make a lot of sense to possibly be available for the Rangers to take. And starting off here, we're going to look at Jason Buchala's of Sportsnet, his kind of, draft rankings here from March, and he is a former NHL scout, so obviously a pretty smart hockey mind there. And in his rankings, he had around that pick number 11 mark. The number 11 guy was Jake O'Brien, a centerman for the Brantford Bulldogs in the OHL, had 98 points in 66 games played, 32 goals, 66 total assists there. Very decent size kind of centerman there, has some good size to him, obviously some great offensive talent. Definitely a guy to keep an eye on, and this could be a pretty great selection for the Rangers at that pick. You've also got Brady Martin there, another center from the OHL. He plays for the Sioux Greyhounds there, and this is someone who has 57 games played, 72 points there, 33 goals, 39 assists, not bad at all. You've also got a couple defensemen around this kind of position as well. Jackson Smith there, a defenseman for the Tri-City Americans in the WHL. He had 54 points in 68 games played there, 11 goals. You've got another defenseman there in Radim Murtica, a Czechia-born prospect. He's playing for the Seattle Thunderbirds in the WHL. He's got 43 games played, 3 goals, 32 assists, 35 points as a defenseman as well, just like Jackson Smith. So obviously, a lot of solid players around this mark, and there are a couple centermen there. Like I said, Jake O'Brien and Brady Martin there are 2 centermen. Another guy there a little bit further down at number 17 there, where he has him in his rankings. Jack Nesbitt there, who's playing for the Windsor Spitfire in the OHL. He's got just under a point per game, having 64 points in 65 games played. And like I said earlier, from what most people say, this draft overall isn't expected to be, phenomenal, but it definitely does have some really good prospects at the very early part of the draft here in that kind of top 5 or 6. You could say there are a half a dozen kind of guys you could say that are some really, really good kind of high-end prospects, but after that, it does kind of drop off. So the Rangers are more than likely not going to be able to get one of those kind of true high-end guys in this draft, but there are a few guys, after that you could say that maybe could kind of fall down there and maybe get it to pick 11 there. Like maybe Victor Eklund could possibly kind of fall down there. Maybe a guy like Roger McQueen who kind of double some injuries. Does he possibly kind of fall all the way down and kind of go down the boards a bit? There's a guy like Caleb Desnoyers. Does he fall down a bit there? And I honestly think it's definitely possible we do see one of these kind of, higher end names possibly kind of fall down, because you take a look at a draft rankings list like Elite Prospects in April, they had a guy like Anton Frundell at pick number 12, whereas Jason Buchla in March had Anton, the exact same player, at pick number 3. So there definitely are some players who are kind of up and down in the rankings for the most part there. Guys like Schaefer, Misa, Martone, and Haggins are all, for the most part, they're up in that kind of top 4, top 5, almost guaranteed by most people kind of accounts, but there definitely are some other guys there, like a Frondell, like a Desnoyers, like an Eklund there, who some people are kind of high on there and have kind of higher in the draft rankings or possibly even a bit lower outside of that top 10. So there are going to be some good players around that range there. And I know a lot of Rangers fans want to see a center drafted with that first round pick if they do keep it. So, for example, Elite Prospects in their April rankings, they had a centerman at pick number 8 there in Carter Bear he's a center/winger. You had at number 9, Caleb Desnoyers, a center. You had at number 10, Jake O'Brien, a center. You had at number 12, Anton Frundell, another center. So there definitely could be some centermen available at this spot. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with the upcoming draft lottery results, as well as what the Rangers decide to do with that first round pick. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you have enjoyed, definitely don't forget to click that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content, as I do post every single day. And also, definitely don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on this upcoming draft lottery for the New York Rangers. Do you want to see them give this pick away, even if it does, stay at pick 11 there? Do you want to see them keep it? Let me know your thoughts. And also, what kind of a prospect do you want to see the Rangers take with that first round pick? Do you want to see it be just kind of the best player available possibly? Do you want to see it be a center, a wing, defenseman? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll catch you next one, and let's go Rangers.